This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Feeling, Ira?
I'm feeling good because the Dolphins are taking all the focus away from the losing. So good timing, Dolphins people.
I wouldn't call it losing. It's just a shitty schedule thing that the NBA is doing. It's real unless the team is really terrible to play a team back to back. It's just so difficult to beat that team twice. And by the way, the Pacers are not an easy team. They're a good team, actually. They can score. So I just find it terribly unfair to NBA teams when you've got to play the same team back to back. It puts you in a difficult situation. Really,
yeah, but beating a team without its best player with Tyrese Halliburton out was a little bit of a different story on Saturday. The bottom line is, they're 11-9. We don't know who they are. We've barely seen them with Butler, Herro, and Adebayo together. They've been shuffling through lineups. We know a little bit about what step forward. Jaime Jaquez, great addition. Thomas Bryant, not so great addition. So you're learning a little, but you haven't fully learned about who the Heat are yet. So I think the quarter poll is almost a grade of incomplete. And you're hoping over these next 20, you get a better sense of who they are.
And by the way, I'm not ready to give up on Thomas Bryant because I've watched him over the years as a player. And I think that it's one of those things that I think he kind of needs to find his way too and get in his own groove also. Maybe halfway through the season, if I still see these kind of struggles with him or inconsistencies, then yeah. But I think eventually he'll find his role and what he's supposed to do. And again, the chef will figure all this shit out like he always does. And he'll figure out how he has to use everybody and put them in the positions to be successful. So I'm not yet set on calling Thomas a bad pick, overall. I'll give him some time. But right now, I at least I've gotten a better team than I got that first few games. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm it's too early in the season for me to overreact or panic about all of this right now. They're not digging themselves in a brutal hole.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And I think that that's also important too, while the chef figures out all the ingredients on how to make the best meal.
Yeah, and again, I agree with the approach with Bam Adebayo and the hip bruise. You can't be in and out and in and out. Get the thing right. The good thing about the NBA tournament and not advancing is the Heat have this 3-day break now. They've been off Sunday. They've been off Monday, off Tuesday. I'll be going up to Toronto Wednesday. You get that nice break. Bam needed that. The in and out makes it so hard in today's NBA. And let's be honest also, Tyler Herro will be 1 month of being out from this Wednesday. I think we're getting close to his return also. Whether you think it works or doesn't, Big O, you need to see those three together ahead of that February 8th trading deadline. See if those three work together, or even see if you need to get other players to complement them better than what you have right now. With the looming thing that you and I discussed on last week's Accurate Pembroke Pines report, Tyler Herro coming back as starter, Tyler Herro coming back as reserve. What does his ego allow? How does Eric Spoelstra handle it? So we're getting very close that by the time I'm back on next week's Accurate Pembroke Pines report, we may have a real read on where Tyler Herro stands.
But when you say trading deadline, you still think they could move Herro?
No, I'm just saying you might need to support him. Different pieces to support him, different pieces in the mix. Or, like you've been sort of espousing that Jimmy Butler is going to come for that extension this offseason. You're shaking your head already in your head, if not on the screen right now. So maybe you also see, hey, Tyler and Bam, that's our core. Maybe there's another move to be made. The one thing about the Heat they've always done very well, Big O, I think, they've lived in the moment, but also considered the future. You're sort of getting to that now. Highsmith will be a free agent in the offseason. Caleb Martin will be a free agent in the offseason. So you want to get a sense of where you're standing also. I need to see a solid month of the Heat. Hey, when we saw that 7-game winning streak, they looked like a team that finally had it figured out. Now they've lost 4 of their last 5.
But it's the NBA. That's kind of the way it is. You get in the middle of a game, you'll have a run, and then they'll have a run, and then you'll have a run, and they'll have a run. But it's such a damn long season. It's, that run of, hey, let's go win 25 in a row. And it's just that's why I'm telling you that I can't overreact at 1-4. I'm not overreacting of losing 4 or 5. I'm not overreacting of winning 7 in a row. The one thing that I would like to see is a run of a healthy team together.
Correct. That's what I'm stressing.
And to me, let's get to the Bam stuff. Okay, clearly Bam, he mentally wired himself a little differently here because he has been much more aggressive offensively than normal, which I love, by the way. But right now, what I want to do is it's kind of like the Teron Armstead thing. I was pissed that they played him yesterday. I was like, I don't care if Kendall Lamb can play or not, or Keon Smith. You're playing a team that has no pass rushers.
Right.
Fucking protect Teron Armstead from Teron Armstead. Keep him out for a couple weeks and get him healthy so you can use him against real teams, not against a shitty team like Washington. And so for Bam, brother, this is like one of your centerpieces. He's playing his ass off. Right now, he's got a hip injury. Let's get him right. Let's give him a few games off. If we have to deal with the losing, we deal with the losing. It's a long-ass season. But let's get Bam right and then get him back in there because, this whole thing of he's going to tough it out and play through the injury, that's not fair to him either, dude.
Except there's a little difference between Teron Armstead and Bam Adebayo in this respect. We know who's replaceable and irreplaceable. We know that if Tyler Herro goes out, Josh Richardson can step up, Kyle Lowry shoots more, Jaquez shoots, you're okay. If Jimmy Butler goes out, Jaquez is Jimmy Jr. He's learning how to play that way he can get offense. What we saw against Indiana is the Heat's entire defense is predicated on Bam Adebayo. It reminds me, and you remember this back in the day, the Heat used to have a guard named Sasha Danilovic. Terrible defender. And so this is how he played defense. Zo, waiting for Alonzo Mourning to back him up behind him because he knew his man was going to blow by him. You saw some of that this weekend. Guys who depended on Bam to help him out when they were getting blown by. Jay Rich, Kyle Lowry. The defense was terrible at the point of attack. That's the one irreplaceable player. I believe that he can win a playoff game without Jimmy. They've shown that. They can win a playoff game if they have to without Tyler. They've won series without him. I don't think the Heat go very far without Bam Adebayo. Yes, you're right. We've been talking about this for weeks. His offense has stepped up.
But you got to get him right.
And I agree with that, and he shows in his absence. I wrote that. That was the lead to my story in the Sun Sentinel on Sunday. Bam Adebayo took a step forward as Defensive Player of the Year when you saw what they didn't have with them. Out the second half on Thursday, out the entire game on Saturday. He is that essential. I'm not sure, even between Rudy Gobert and some of the other great shot blockers, that a single player is as essential for his team defensively as Bam Adebayo is for the Miami Heat.
Yeah, no, it doesn't exist because he does so many other things. No. He's just not like he's just not there sitting in the paint waiting for you. You know what I mean? No, he's not like that traditional guy that waits for you there. He does all the other things. I just worry about him re-injuring himself constantly, and so he's not helping you this way either. So you might as well suck it up, deal with whatever you got to deal with the losing, and get him right and let him get healthy. So that way you get him back, you get the real Bam back, and then you can get on some kind of a roll. That's, to me, that's just the only thing I would do.
And Digo, you know this. When you play an injured player, you don't even get that real player. In the fourth quarter against the New York Knicks, when the Heat collapsed from that 21-point lead, Bam did nothing. Was scoreless in the fourth quarter. After the game, both Eric Spoelstra and Bam said he just didn't have it in the fourth quarter. So you put someone out there who's not himself. Not only physically he's not there, but mentally he's not there also. So I agree. 3-day break.
Offense. It affected his offense. It wasn't good. You know what I mean? And I was, even that night, I was like, get closer to the basket, dude. Get closer.
Well, remember in that Knicks game when he had that big dunk down the lane and he blew that dunk? Again, when you don't have your lift, when you're physically not the same, when you have a bruise and you know you're going to land on it, you're not the same player. So I agree with that. What I don't agree with you when we talked at the top of the Accurate Pembroke Pines report today is Eric Spoelstra talking about the depth we have in the power rotation. Thomas Bryant hasn't been it. Orlando Robinson is an erstwhile player, but with limitations. Kevin
Yes.
Love has stepped forward a little, but again, I can give you a replacement for Herro. I can give you a replacement for Butler. I can't give you plan B for Bam Adebayo. There is no plan B after plan Adebayo.
By the way, when is Herro coming back? Do we know?
You know what? I'd love to say I know. He doesn't sit on the bench at home games. He's sort of got that. He's working behind the scenes, but he doesn't want to be seen unless he's fully whole, unless he's, God forbid, run out of bucket hats. So I would hope to see him sooner rather than later. Again, I think Wednesday's an important day. It's 1 month since the injury. Sometimes ankle sprains are 2 weeks. Sometimes they're a month. If it's more than that, then it has to be more of an injury we thought. He's been quiet. The team's been quiet. And as Eric Spoelstra said, no more interim updates. I'll tell you when a player comes back. So we wait for that puff of smoke.
Is there any concerns? Okay. I know he's a tough kid. You can tell he's got an edge to him, but you don't want to wear Jaime Jaquez out either because he is a rookie in his first year. So while I'm enjoying the hell out of it and I'm a fan and all that, we've all seen the rookie wall in the second half of the season. What is the Heat kind of doing to maybe make sure that they pace him and kind of protect him too from himself?
At the moment, they're doing nothing because they can't, because Tyler Herro is out, because they're limited, because Jimmy Butler has missed 4 games over the first 20 of the season. They've been forced to play him. And Jaime does have that look when we talk about the schedule. He has that look of like, wait, there's another game right away? At college, you play 2 a week and you're done. So I think it's getting to him. I think Big O, as much as the physical, is the mental. You don't want to get him down on himself by getting worn down and ground out. He was not very good Saturday against the Pacers. He had been very good before that. So I don't think you overplay him. I think with Josh Richardson stepping up and playing better, that's taken some of the pressure off of Jaime. Some of the other wings have to step up a little bit more right now also. So I think you play Jaime till Tyler comes back, then you can pull back. So again, Tyler not only impacts Tyler also impacts Jaime. I agree on that.
We look at Jimmy. What's the plan for Jimmy is what? Is it going to be kind of the same? Because 4 games, are we pacing for 15, 20 to miss again this year?
Yeah, I think it's funny. The awards, I believe you have to play at 65 this year, can't miss more than 17. I would take the Jimmy misses the over on that. I don't think he cares about awards that much. He's going to pace himself. He does it 2 ways, Big O. He paces himself by rest days, taking time off. He also does it in games. We've seen it the last couple of games. First half, Jimmy Butler, meh. Third quarter, he sees how much is needed. Fourth quarter, if he has to push, he pushes. You know what's interesting? You're concerned about 22-year-old Jaime Jaquez getting burned out. We also have to be concerned about 34-year-old Jimmy Butler getting burned out because they have been counting on him far too much. We all do the same watching the Heat. When's Jimmy coming back in the fourth quarter? And it's such a tough spot for Eric Spoelstra. He knows he wants to limit it to about 34 minutes a game. Usually he'll wait till 7, maybe 6. The other day on Saturday, he realized, I got nothing out here. He put him back with 9 minutes to go. So it's also on Eric Spoelstra to get Jimmy to that finish line. He will miss time. After this week, you have 2 against Charlotte, 2 against Chicago. If Tyler's back, if Bam is back, you should have enough for that 4-game stretch to get through without forcing it on Jimmy. But the teammates have to step up also.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously it's 2 different scenarios because with Jaime, I'm just worried because he's a rookie. He's not used to 80.
More mental, right.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that you're so used to. With all the other guys, I'm not worried because they're already been programmed, to play 82 games. On the flip side, congratulations to Josh Richardson. I don't know what happened to him, but he looked old and slow and not himself early on. And now he has been he looks like the young Josh Richardson now.
He had a foot injury during camp in the start of the season, and he literally said he couldn't get his footing. He also said for as many other places he's been when he left the Heat, when he went to Philly, he went to Boston, he went to Dallas, he went to New Orleans, no one is as demanding, as precise, and requires the precision that the Heat do. And he said mentally, after 4 years away, I had to get my head back into that it wasn't the same in those other places. It might have been more freewheeling. He's gotten into it. He's found even he said he's found the right shots and knowing what the other shots aren't. Again, the concern here is, and you and I for years have been talking about it, the lack of depth at point guard. You have Kyle Lowry at 37 years old, and then who? And even when you and I were talking, God bless the kid, Drew Smith, he's out now with the ACL for the season. Tyler Herro was a prime ball handler. And for as much as the Heat keep telling us, well, Bam can handle and Jimmy can handle, I don't want to put more on their plate. So for Josh, it's also relearning point guard. And in his entire career, since coming out of Tennessee in the second round in 2015, he's really only played point guard for the Heat, his final season, and the one season in San Antonio. That takes time to regain that mentality. He's coming around, but again, he's 30. You can't overpush him either. That's the thing with an older roster in this congested schedule.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Ira, what do you got going on the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out leading up to Wednesday's game against Toronto?
I pointed out the top 10 storylines of the first 20 games of the season today at sunsentinel.com, tomorrow at your paper. I also asked whether Indiana has cracked the code against the Heat. Teams will play 5 out, try to attack them at the point of attack. Again, without Bam, you don't know, so that matters. Tomorrow, the Heat are back at practice. We'll find out about Bam. We'll find out about Haywood Highsmith with that back bruise. You know, a lot of questions. We already know Bam is out for Wednesday. Maybe we'll get a better idea down the road. I would love to see Tyler Herro out there shooting and working again, at least to provide some encouragement. So tomorrow's practice, I think, is a seminal day for the Heat before they head up to Toronto to face the Raptors on Wednesday.
Ira, as always, appreciate you, my brother. We will catch up next week. Thank you, sir.
Back next week to sell more cars in the Acura Pembroke Pines Report. Thanks, Big O.
Thank you, sir. There you go, Ira Winderman. And when we talk about Acura Pembroke Pines, I just saw Larry Schlossberg over at the Joe Bonamassa concert at Hard Rock Live. He's a guitarist. He went to admire another great guitarist. And if you want to admire this guitarist, Larry Schlossberg, get on down to 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines. Got a selection that is second to none. They are the number one volume sales dealership of Acuras in the United States, right here in your backyard. They got a hell of a selection. And by the way, they got the new electric Acura coming your way too. That SUV is beautiful, man. So go check it out. Got a selection of certified pre-owned vehicles that is just absolutely amazing. Larry Schlossberg, Pat Nasto, Tony Stampone, all the great people like Craig Zins. Acura.